All right, I don't want to hear anybody making fun of Dragon not doing anything anymore. Okay? Not even because of what happened in the last chapter. Like, oh no, the Holy Land is burning. Technically speaking, we don't even know if that is Dragon. That could be a completely unrelated thing. You know, like some of the Celestial Dragons could have just left the stove on for all we know on that one. I'm not talking about that. Dragon could still be on Kamabaka staring off into the ocean. Here's what I mean about that. Emu, the ruler of the entire world for the last 800 years, is now only actively doing things. Okay? Dragon is only 55 years old. Emu has lived many of his lifetimes and is now, so many things have been ignored up until now. Whatever happens beyond this point, whatever happens with the Tenryubito system being destroyed, all the Yonko mobilizing, the Cross Guild, all that kind of shit happening, Vegapunk's message, really is kind of on Emu. I made a whole video a few months ago talking about how Emu is such a drama queen and just hangs out in their fancy little castle in their garden and just plays with butterflies. It's like, you could have been possessing God's Knights the entire time? That was a power you had? Shit, Emu, I was giving you a little bit of credit. I was like, all right, maybe Emu is like cursed to stay in the confines of the castle and can't actually exert their power on the larger world. So that's why they need the Mother Flame, and that's why they need the giant laser cannon. And that's why they send the God's Knights and the Gorosei out there into the world and have to give them power as like a proxy. You know, like, it's like, Saint Ethan Baron Venus Juro, I will give you the power to turn into a giant frozen horse so you can go out there in the world and do things for me. Or, I am stuck in this castle. I would love to go out there and do stuff in the world. I would love to, exert the power of God on the planet and rule with an iron fist. But, like, I can't step outside of the flower room or the creepy freezer basement where the Straw Hat is at. So you guys gotta go out there for me. No! Apparently, possessing people, at least a few people, at least the God's Knights and the Gorosei, was always on the table. Think about all of the shit that happened. Like, Iron Giant attacks Marijois 200 years ago. Apparently, Emu didn't do anything about that. Like, Emu, giant monster is attacking. Oh, what are we gonna do? It's so big and it's like crushing everything. It's like some kind of Iron Giant. Emu's like, I don't care. I was like, oh, it's powering down now. We're good. It's like, oh, okay. Then, like, cut forward a few hundred years. Fisher Tiger. Badass extraordinaire Fisher Tiger climbs the red line, gets into Marijois, burns a city down, frees a bunch of slaves, and manages to not only escape, but he escapes and then starts a pirate crew and then causes more havoc for the world government and the Marines. Does Emu get involved in that? Like, yeah, I don't really give a shit. I don't care. It's like, Lord Emu, Fisher Tiger broke into our city and is now a pirate. Don't you want to, like, send the God's Knights after him and, like, speak to him personally or something? I don't really care. I don't really give a crap, whatever. Somebody broke into your city and burned the town. Like, this is your city too. Yeah, but, like, And then, just most recently, the Reverie happens, right? The Revolutionary Army, Morley, Karasu, Lindbergh, Sabo, they all break in, and there's a big fight in the city, and the admirals are getting involved, and it's just like, are you gonna mobilize the God's Knights? Emu's like, Now, to be fair, Emu was busy during Reverie, killing, like, a 70-year-old man in a wheelchair. That took up a lot of Emu's time. And the time of the Goroseis as well, apparently. It took 6 people to bring down Cobra. Hey, you can say whatever you want about Cobra. He took on all 5 Gorosei and Emu at the same time. Cobra, top 5 One Piece characters in terms of strength right there. He was the ultimate distraction. Actually, you know what? I said that as a joke. The whole reason Sabo was apparently able to escape, because Sabo got stabbed, and the only reason he was able to escape is because Cobra was like hobbling up and like stood up and could barely move and was like, Sabo, you gotta get out of here. And apparently that worked. Apparently the dying old man that was like can barely take a step on his own power was enough to distract the 5 Gorosei and Imu while Sabo ran for the door. It's like, Cobra, thank you. He's like, I'll hold him off. Boom! You're not going after Sabo. It's just like, you think that they would just be able to like knock him aside and just go after him. You know what I mean? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's all that Imu has done up until now. But now, when the city is on fire, I don't know why the city being on fire now is any different than the city being on fire when Fisher Tiger raised the place. But whatever. Now, arbitrarily, Imu decides to get off of the fucking toilet and be like, I am Lord Imu. I am the ruler of this world, and I will show you the power of God. I will now possess Gunko and exert my godly demonic power through her. Ooh, lightning. It's like Palpatine. It's like Force lightning. Ah. Like, all right, fine. Whatever, Imu. Whatever happens at this point onward, it's on you, okay? All right, you could have really took an initiative on this like a while ago, all right? You could have taken the initiative on this in the way of like, all right, the will of D is the enemy of God. Anybody that shows up with the will of D, I'm using my God power to kill. I'm using my immense God powers and my resources as the ruler of the world to eliminate every single person that has the middle initial of D. I don't even care if your middle name is like Dylan or something. You're dead too. All right? So it's like, there's this guy, Monkey D. Garp. He just joined the Marine. Kill him. Doesn't matter. He has a D in his initial. Fucking kill him. Because Imu is God. Imu is the ruler of the world. Just enact that. You know, it's like, whatever. Then Dragon wouldn't have been born. Luffy wouldn't have been born. Even if you allow Garp and Dragon to be born, then you could have crushed the revolutionary. Hey, Imu, there's these freedom fighters over here that are led by this guy named Monkey D. Dragon. Maybe we should deal with them before they become a major threat. Right now, there's not that many of them, and they don't have that many resources. Maybe we should take care of them now. It's like, nah. Let them do what they do. They're just, look at those scamps over there starting a revolution. Oh, and look, the guy is Monkey D. Dragon, probably a descendant of Joy Boy and all those people we dealt with. Maybe, okay, granted, maybe Imu has just been depressed for, like, the last, 7.5 centuries, right? Like, okay, imagine being immortal. Imagine spending every single day of your life in the same place on top of the empty throne, awash in complete luxury in a flower room. Like if those literally are the only 3 rooms that Imu can go into, the empty throne room, the flower room, and the creepy basement, okay, that would kind of mess with you psychologically after a while, right? Like after a while, you'd just be like, I don't even care anymore. I don't care. Is whatever. And then this is the thing that finally, like, Lord Imu, get your head in the game. And just like, the city's burning down. And Emu's like, it's like that scene with Doc Brown at the end of Back to the Future Part 3, where he's like all depressed over Clara leaving. And then all of a sudden Marty's there. He's like, we gotta go back to the future. And Doc is like, you know what? You're right. Imu gets up. The Garling is grabbing him. Is like, come on, Lord Imu, you gotta do it. And he's like, you know what, Garling? You're right. Time to bust out the god powers. Hang back. I'm going to possess Gunko and get this whole thing moving. Boom. So maybe it was something like that. I don't know. Okay. More logically, people have brought up a big thing that is different now that was not the case for the last 8 centuries that might be the impetus on why Imu is enacting stuff now is because Luffy has awakened the Gumu Gumu no Mi, has awakened the true power of the Hito Hito no Mi model sun god Nika, okay? Because it was mentioned multiple times that, yeah, this was the devil fruit that Joy Boy had way back in the day, caused the allied forces a lot of trouble and everything, and Imu obviously does not care for that too much, and especially when we saw when Emet used the hockey nuke, and, Imu was, like, shaking in their boots, like, oh, no. Does Imu wear boots? I'm throwing it out there right now. Emu wears boots. Okay, that's my theory for what Emu looks like. I don't know what Emu looks like, but they wear boots. I'll say that. Anyway, Emu was shaking in their boots of like, joy boy, hockey, no. And, maybe that was the thing. Maybe that was the thing that jostled Emu enough to get them out of their funk of just like, joy boys, hockey. I remember. It's like an old war veteran, after he's like, oh, it's been 70 years since the war. You know what? It's time we get back to it. It's like maybe something like that. I don't know. But there's that, and then there's also, the awakening of Luffy's Gear 5th, and so that could be also like a thing of like, hey, the prophecy is happening again. Whatever happened during the Void Century seems that is going to happen again now. So, Emu, maybe you should get involved. And it's like, okay. So let's talk about the Holy Land being on fire right now. There's two major theories that everybody is kind of saying that have any real like belief. One is Dragon. That one makes the most sense, and it was actually just set up because Dragon was also, his hand was kind of forced as well. Vegapunk sort of pushed things kind of along here. Vegapunk was there like, Quasar, if I'm dying, I'm at least pushing this plot forward. And so Dragon was like, okay, well, now the whole world knows that, the apocalypse is coming. Everything's going to flood and everybody's going to die pretty soon. People are going to start fighting for higher ground, right? Like, so we have to figure out some way to stop this. But even if they can't stop it, the number one place that everybody's going to want to go is on top of the red line, right? Like, that would be the safest location with this flood. So they got to start dealing with the Tenryubito and Marijois and everybody that controls the red line. By the way, pause for a moment. Little bit of a tangent. I might make a video on this. I'm not really sure. So you got the red line that stretches the entire planet, right? The whole way around. You got Reverse Mountain on one side. You got Marijois on one side. What is on the rest of the red line? You understand the red line stretches over the entire damn planet. Like, I have a thing here. Okay, so Marijois is right here. And Reverse Mountain's right here. And that's, where Laboon and Crocus hang out, everything like that. What is all this? What is all this here? This stuff. Like, are there any towns up here? Are there anything? I would imagine, like, at the very least, the government would put, like, some outposts or some bases, like, around Marijois. Like, if Marijois is right here, it would make sense to put, like, a marine outpost, like, here and here as, like, choke points. Like, because all that's, like, requiring people to, like, just climb up the... Now, I say just climb up the red line. That is really, really hard to do. Only if you have, like, the Germa's ships that were made out of giant sea slugs or snails or whatever those things were that can actually adhere to the side and go all the way up and around. Yeah, just climbing a random spot at the red line ain't happening for most people. But still, it would be smart to put, like, a town or a base or a city over here. So in case somebody does try to get on the red line and invade that way at, like, level, then they would be like, oh, you're trying to invade the Holy Line. Like, that would just make sense. But beyond that, like, what else is going on up here? There seems to be a lot of space on the red line. It's a thing that stretches the entire planet. There'd be other places for you to build things. Now, there is also an issue of, like, resources, because the red line just seems to be just that red rock, and that's it. A lot of the things at Marijois have to be, like, artificially cultivated. Like, that forest that's there is not really a forest. That's, like, indigenous to that area. That's something that had to be installed later with technology, and they use a lot of slave labor up there and everything like that. So, in order to get food, also another thing, they can't really grow their own crops up there. They rely on food deliveries, and they have the granaries and everything like that the Revolutionary Army destroyed. So there's an issue of lack of resources. But remember, the Lunarians lived up there too. So, like, you are able to sustain a population of at least the Lunarians before the government took over with all the slave labor and the artificial cultivation and the granaries and everything like that, right? Like, so, I'm not really sure. Then again, the Lunarians had wings and they could fly, so that kind of adds a whole other, if they needed food, they could probably just fly down and fly back up. I'm not really sure how that works. But, at any rate, it's just something I wanted to bring up, like, what is with the rest of the red line, and could there be any, like, other habitable areas up there? That's the question. Like, caverns and stuff like that. The whole world in the fourth age lives in caves. Honestly, you could see that happening. So, yeah, Dragon was like, we need to mobilize, we need to get stuff moving because, the revolution is nigh, right? The other one that people have really brought up is Blackbeard. Blackbeard, especially since in the last arc we had Augur and Devon going to Egghead and copying the appearance of Saturn. Now they can maybe figure out a way to gain access to the Holy Land, just transform into Saturn and be like, I would like to go back to Marijois, and then they would take him up to the red port, and then boom, the Blackbeard pirates rip off their disguises that they had on, and they all attack the Holy Land. That could totally have happened too. Right now, I'm gonna say it's Dragon. I'm feeling Dragon vibes. Actually, if we're going along with Blackbeard's usual MO, he waits for Dragon to invade Marijois, and then he follows up. Because that's kind of what Blackbeard does in, like, every situation. He waits for somebody else to open the gates, and then he gets involved. So maybe that could be happening, too, there. Maybe Dragon's revolution's actually going rather well, and then all of a sudden Blackbeard shows up to ruin it. Or to help him out. Oh, dude, that would be wild. Like, imagine Dragon's revolution is going. They're in the Tenryubito city. They're wiping out all the celestial dragons. And then, the God's Knights get involved, like Shamrock. That's probably why he's there again. Shamrock's there. So, like, Dragon planned for all this, right? Like, Dragon's fighting against Shamrock. And then, or maybe Garling. And then, Morley's fighting against the Gorosei. Like, all the Revolution Army commanders are dealing with them. But they're not going to be able to beat them, right? Like, so the Revolutionary, like, Bello Betty's going up against, like, Shepard or something. But, like, they're just not going to be able to win. And then right when it looks like the revolution has failed, boom, Blackbeard shows up and like, Zahaha! So, Dragon, you want some help? And then Dragon's like, oh god, no. And he's like, well, you don't get a choice. I'm helping you regardless. All right, Augur, take him out. It's like Bello Betty's about to get killed by Shepard, and all of a sudden Shepard gets blasted in the head by Augur. And then the revolutionaries and Blackbeard have to team up. That would be fucking cool, right? Anyway, so that's what's going on at Marijois, something happening there. And then meanwhile, Emu decides not to help out with that, but to go over to Elbaf and be like, why are you taking so long? You've been over here for 6 years. It's just like, what? We just started the operation. Time moves differently in Elbaf. Didn't you know that? I really want the time dilation thing to be there. I don't know. I think I just like time dilation as a plot element, honestly. I liked it when it was used in the hyperbolic lion tamer in Dragon Ball Z. I liked it when it's used there. I like it when it's like, oh, it's actually 2 days here, but in the meantime, 2 years passed on the outside. I like that trope, so I'm a little biased. But there are things about it that don't make much sense, but like, I would like that to be the case where like Emu is like, oh, you guys have been gone for 3 months. What's taking so long? The entire place is burning down. Because, yeah, that does make sense, though, for time dilation to be a thing. Because even if Dragon, like, mobilized immediately after Vegapunk's message, like, after the message aired, he was like, okay, we're done. We're doing it. We're going to Marijois. And even if, honestly, even for Blackbeard, even if Blackbeard was like, right after Egghead, was like, okay, we have Saturn's appearance. We're going to go to the Red Port. We're going to get into Marijois. We're going to start burning the place to the ground. Like, even if that was their strategy immediately after the events of Egghead, from Egghead to Elbaf to now, I mean, it hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that long. Has that been long enough to mobilize an entire revolution and stuff? I only bring this up because Oda's been pretty good about, like, how much time has passed in between arcs and things. I mean, look at Kuma. Kuma took a few days to travel from Kamabaka all the way on the other side of the world into the new world, to Egghead to reach Bonnie, and that was like shown, like him traveling from Kamabaka all the way to the Red Port, and then climbing up the Red Port, and then reaching Marijois, and then fighting Akainu, and then launching himself off of the Red Line towards Egghead. That wasn't something that just happened immediately, right? It took a long time to do that. Also, the reason Oda is introducing like fast travel right now with the Abyss and the magic circles and stuff in order to like transport you from various locations, so we don't have to worry about that too much. I'm glad he at least waited until this part of the story to like show like, oh yeah, teleportation is a thing, but it only works with like Emu's power. Speaking of Emu's power, yeah, so we have teleportation, we have the ability to transform into a giant monster, we have the arrow tail thing that stabbed Cobra and Sabo, that apparently really, really hurts. And now we can also add possession to this ability as well. Probably something that, Emu can only do with the God's Knights and the Gorosei. Anybody that can use the Abyss or has the mark of the Abyss or has the immortality or the regeneration ability or the eternal youth, whatever you want to call it. It's only going to be those people. I'm sure Emu could not just walk up to, like, Usopp and be like, I possess you. God, Usopp, I have been watching you for a while. You are the strongest Straw Hat. And then Usopp's like, I mean, I know, but please don't. And then it's like Emu possesses Usopp, and then that's where the real battle gets moving. You know, that's where the real threats start right there, okay? But yeah, we have these abilities now. So when Emu possessed Gunko's hair began to grow out, and her eyes began to turn into Emu's eyes. The hair growing out, it seems to be one of once again, two main theories I've seen around in the sphere here. One is that is how Gunko looked originally, and in fact, we actually do know Gunko used to have longer hair, because when she was like flashing back to remembering that kingdom that she was from, and she remembers Brook humming and all that stuff, in one of those flashbacks, she did have longer hair. So it could just be that, you know, like when Gunko was transformed into however you are transformed into a God's Knight, she had longer hair, and so when Emu is possessing her, it like resets her back to that original form. Like, I could see that. Another thing that people are saying is that this is Emu's true appearance. Emu is a woman, probably Nefeltari D. Lily, or at least Lily's body. Considering possession is a thing now, you can kind of see that. Now, Lily could straight up be dead. Like, she is gone. She died 800 years ago, and then Emu possessed her body, and that's the body that they've been using for like the last 800 years. Emu Neurona is now Nefeltari D. Lily, or is something else altogether, right? In fact, oh, wait a minute. Now, I just thought of something else. We know that there was a person named Emu Neurona back in the day. What if we go some angle with this where Emu Neurona was not the original Emu? It was some other thing that had the ability to, like a parasite, to like possess other people. So this parasite possessed Emu Neurona, and then I am Lord Emu, and then also possessed Lily, or also can possess other people. So it's not really the body that they have, it's more of like the parasite that's possessing them. Something like that. Not really sure if that would fit anywhere, but it's One Piece, so it might. But anyway, yeah, might just be like the body of Lily or something. After Emu takes off the cloak, it's like this soulless image of Lily that's just there. That's a corpse that's been dead for 8 centuries, and, you know, Emu just took over, and now is like taking over Gunko and can possess the others as well. Like, I'm sure Emu could possess Shamrock or Killingham or Summers. Wouldn't make much sense to possess Summers, though. I mean, he's hacked in 2 pieces. He's on the ground. He's like, I can't really move. I'm all cut up, you know. But yeah, I'm sure Emu could do that if they wanted to. Sure. What about abilities? What do you think Emu's powers are going to be? Like combat-based abilities. We know Emu can eat things, like eat fire. So that's, or maybe eating devil fruit abilities specifically is their ability. So, like, if anybody shot, like, a devil fruit power at them, you know, like, so obviously Sabo used the Maramarinomi, and Emu just, you know, Kirby'd that shit. What if it's possible that, like Kizaru fires an energy laser, and even the laser can just be eaten? Blackbeard, in that case, might be the exception to the rule, because Blackbeard has such a weird Logia and ability to not fire things, but absorb things. So what if, like, Blackbeard used Black Vortex or Black Hole on Emu, and then Emu got sucked into the darkness, and then it's like both of them together, like trying to like use their abilities to absorb others' abilities? That would be something that would be interesting. Now I kind of want it to be Blackbeard invading Marijois. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, clearly it could be something like that. Oh, can we do something like in Castlevania? You know how like Dracula in Castlevania could summon like a giant molten ball of fire and fire it at the enemies? I kind of want Emu to do that. I kind of want Emu to like raise, like do the Frieza thing, like raise up one finger and just giant death ball and just whoop. You know, I kind of want Emu to use that ability. I mean, Emu could have other abilities, but I just want that to be a thing. Like one big major like combat skill, like almighty, you know, power damage they can do with that. Like that would be pretty sweet. But hey, I mean, better late than never, I guess, Emu. Okay, Emu is finally deciding to get off their throne and actually do something. Fine, we'll see where this goes. You better show us some pretty impressive shit, Emu, okay? All right. Because right now, I got to be honest with you, the Emus that defeated the Australian military in that war, they have a better track record than you right now, okay? It's the Emu War. Go look it up. It's actually a really crazy event in history. Okay, it still is remembered by Australians to this very day. All right, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Teching, signing out. Later. Glasses. They're fake.